Okay, are we ready to begin?
Yeah.
All right. Hey everyone. If you don't know who I am Isaac Byrne. I teach at Azal, and I directed this stage reading for you tonight. I just want to thank you so much for coming out. This is our second in the return of the Friday night reading series. This is a new work in progress by playwright Ran Xia. The reading series is very simple in design. Roughly once a month, we ask playwrights for new plays that they're working on that they want or need to hear out loud. They give us a script or part of a script, whatever's most helpful for them. We cast AZAA actors in the roles. We read the play once out loud on Zoom. The playwright then has about 6 days to make any changes they want to after that rehearsal. And then we all come together and we throw it up on stage and just read it out loud to all of you. So some of the play tonight will be as new for us as it will be for you. Tonight, we're only going to read one act of what will eventually be a 2-act play. That means that tonight your response will be extra helpful for the playwright. There's no intermission tonight. We're going to read straight through one act. Then we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll do a short talk back with the playwright who is watching tonight. Yeah. So when a new play is read out loud to an audience, the audience's response, as well as the actors who are reading the play, all of your responses to this material, your laughter, your applause, your questions about it, all of that in a way starts to become a part of the play. It becomes a part of the story that Ran Xia is telling. And our history as human beings is made up of the stories that we tell. So thank you all to the actors and to the audience, to the people watching online. Thank you for choosing tonight to be a part of this story. And now, without further ado, I'll let the actors take it away.
Pluto playing piano in a faraway place, or the grave farthest from Earth is a spacecraft headed away from our solar system, by Ran Xia. Dramatic personae: Clyde, Carl Lamplin, Lee Miron, owner of the restaurant Michael and Turner.
Wait, sorry, hold. Sorry, so sorry, guys. I think maybe the video is off. We can't, the video for
The video stopped. I'm
Yeah.
not sure why. Give me a second.
Okay, sorry, slight technical difficulty.
Who knows how to make it so that nobody can call me, but it's not on your phone? Yeah, do not disturb.
Okay, but it's sideways. There we go.
Okay.
All right, let's start over from the title of the play.
Pluto playing piano in a faraway place, or the grave farthest from Earth is on a spacecraft headed away from our solar system, by Ran Xia. Dramatic personae: Clyde, Carl Lamplin, Lee Miron, owner of restaurant Michael and Turner. Pluto, piano, Percival Lowell. Karen, Patsy, Miss Susie Sabo, Imogen the waitress. Venetia, Earth. Clyde as an old man, Granddad, Neptune. Mars. Venus. Mercury. Saturn. Jupiter. Uranus, Adela. The Celestial Ensemble will also be playing instruments as a band. Pluto the cat. Esther. A tall, full roaming Martian. An actor on stilts.
I'm so sorry. We have to adjust the camera again. It's too low. We're missing the top of people's heads. There we go. Thank you.
The playing space is a panorama. It rotates around the audience. The beginning is the end. A rhythmic sound of click, clap, click, light up on a living room chair. It's a well-loved armchair. To its stage right, a table. We're not sure how big the table is, as part of it is in the darkness. There are quite a lot of things upon the table. Stacks of papers upon the table, newspapers, sketches, prints of diagrams, etc. An old man sits in the armchair, taking out newspaper and taking notes. A cat is napping on his knees. He strokes the cat occasionally. To the right of the armchair, a floor lamp emanates warm light. Sit. Piano music playing. Something sweetly distant. The cat awakes and hops off Clyde as an old man's knees and starts to walk along the turntable. Sections of the stage are lit up as the cat strolls along towards the music. Far upstage lights up on a tall, pole-roaming Martian, walking parallel as the cat. Do they recognize each other? Lights up on Clyde as a young man, sitting behind the comparator, with his back towards the audience. Stock still.
That's it.
Piano continues into something jazzy. The cat continues on the panorama stage. As we pass the stage, dimly lit are parts from farming tools, old bicycle, and of various other types of junk, as well as diagrams of telescopes on dirt ground. Next, it reveals there's a bicycle track, or just a dirt road, that surrounds the outskirt of the stage, as well as the area between the audience and the stage. The cat continues to walk, dimly lit, musical instruments resting against the dark backdrop, until pale blue lights up on Pluto playing the piano in a faraway place. Of course, we don't know he's Pluto yet. Right now, we'll refer to him as the performer, a pianist. A jazz singer, Karen. We also don't know she's Karen just yet. The cat keeps going and brings us to another bike track, which leads us to the Black Cat Cafe. Clyde arrives on his bicycle, enters the cafe, and sits by a table. A waitress, Imogen, enters, puts a glass of water in front of him. Clyde says thanks. Music fades, and now we hear ambient sound from the restaurant. February 18th, 1930, breakfast, 8 a.m. The owner of the Black Cat Cafe, Michael, enters and sits down at Clyde's table. They chat. After a brief moment, Imogen comes by and puts down a plate in front of Clyde. Clyde says thanks. Lights up on the other side of the cafe space, revealing that the cafe table is actually the same very large one next to the armchair. Sitting behind the table, we see Venetia, a 12-year-old girl. Imogen becomes mom by putting on a piece of costume, perhaps, and puts down a plate in front of Venetia, a fresh cup of coffee in front of Clyde as an old man.
Granddad. But I wanted Tia. But Mom, I don't. I'm off to the shop. Do you need anything? Granddad? Just the papers then. Christ's sake. I'll be back later. Yuck.
Yuck. Oh. Look at that.
Venetia hops off her chair, goes and grabs a pair of scissors, comes back, and starts to cut out the article that Granddad has pointed out for her. Granddad rummages his jacket and pulls out a biscuit, hands it to Venetia. She takes it happily and starts to unwrap, simultaneously as Clyde's eating the sandwich.
That's it? Hold on.
Let me get this. Besides coming here 3 times a day, the rest of the time you just what?
I
Plays, you said. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, sort of like games. I'll spot the differences, spot all the 5 differences, spot the one that matters out of hundreds, well, actually millions. It's out of mostly you see objects of very
Stars.
stars. Well, stars would be important. Mostly just space jumps, dust, comets, heliospheres, space bubbles.
That does sound interesting.
It is.
So you do that for
8 or
9 hours a day?
It's my job. Plus, once you get a,
I guess some of us flip burgers for 8, 9 hours a day.
and at night if it's clear, I go on the track and take a new plates. You take a new plate every couple of minutes. There I'm looking at right now. So I go this way.
Got some nice salmon this morning. Save you some for lunch.
Clyde hops on his bicycle. The stage rotates backwards, past Pluto playing piano and Karen quietly humming. We see the rest of the celestial ensemble. They form a tableau. It's a banquet or a board meeting consisting of Mercury is walking along the tableau saying more wine, etc., to Venus putting on makeup, Mars vaping, Jupiter fixing his hat, Saturn fixing his tie. They're all dressed in gray, typical 1930s corporate American clothing, think talking heads. As they start, Venetia enters from her side, becomes Earth. She ends up between Venus and Mars.
Strange new object in the sky.
Look at it go.
Most peculiar. Most peculiar.
Would you just look at that?
Most peculiar.
Going.
It could be dangerous.
This could be something. It's coming this way.
So strange little.
Is it coming this way?
Looks like it's coming this way. How long do you think it's gonna take?
Can you tell what it is?
I can't tell what it is.
What is it? What is it? What is it?
Know what we know and to know what we got. That's where we do not know and to know that we know what we know.
Hey!
Do not know.
Hey,
Know that we
buddy.
know what we
I'm
know
ready for you.
and
Over
know that
here.
we know-
You need a
know what we
push?
Do not know.
Come on, buddy. I'll give you a little push. Think. Just think. What does it mean? What is the meaning of this? Is it coming towards me? Yes. No. It doesn't add up. Calculate the trajectory. It's passing me by. No, Jupiter. Why is it always Jupiter? Here, buddy, over here. Wait a minute. Wait, it's not. What? A little tease. How can it be? Is it heading towards Saturn? Uranus?
Do I look decent?
Or could it be Neptune even?
Neptune? That one stayed far for a reason.
No, that's not it.
Pale blue light on Pluto playing a baby grand piano in a distant place. A trickle of notes. It's a sweet tune.
What's that?
The stage rotates to the living room of Tombaugh residence. January 17th, Friday, 1997. Clyde Tombaugh dies in his couch. The cat Pluto hops off of him and is gone. The performer who plays Clyde as an old man stands up from where he was seated in the couch, which is now lit with a spotlight and turns into Neptune. Picks up a guitar and goes to a spot in the jazz band section on the stage and starts to play a tune, a lullaby, a sea shanty. He sings over and over.
Kansas, New Mexico, Arizona, our search near and far for a sun. Kansas, New Mexico, Arizona, our search near and far for a sun.
To the rhythm of the tall, full roaming Martian, a appears and takes a step, then another, etc. Every step, he makes a click-clack sound as the comparator at the observatory. He doesn't get very far, but he makes his presence known. Clyde at 24 appears in the observatory section of the stage. It's 1929. Clyde puts on a tie, thoroughly psyched. He fixes his jacket. Karen appears. She sits down at the top of the baby grand piano to narrate. Captain's log, day 1. You don't strike me as the captain himself. Call it something different. What about Diary of a Stargazer, which was literally your job? Stargazer.
Dream come true.
Day 1. What's that day 1? The beginning? The very beginning of. Wasn't it just so exciting? Clyde hums a tune to the click-clack of the Martian, repeating, repeating, repeating. Neptune harmonizes along on guitar. You're looking for something. How do you do it? Where do you start when the space is the whole of space? When the object of fascination is a planet that might or might not exist? Oh, but it does. It does. Out of reach. Just out of reach. You look for something. You figure out what they look like. What if the object of intrigue is this elusive fugitive and it looks exactly like any of the other distant specks of light?
Calculations. You have that. Calculations.
Yes, sure. Calculate how long it takes to take in a breath, hold it in. You take in all the distant specks of light, dust on a window pane, a small square of window pane. You look through it, look back in time, the smallest segment of that vast.
Each plate covers an area about 50,000 to 900,000 specs.
So that's what you did on day 1. Very, very closely at a very how romantic.
So
And day 2, and Clyde gestures as if he carefully operates a telescope. It almost looks like a carefully choreographed delicate dance.
take another plate, same exact calculations.
Yes, calculations. You gotta trust that you did it right.
I trust that Mr. Lowe somehow,
Hoping isn't the same as knowing.
well, you can never know.
You can always. Clyde goes and puts 2 plates into the comparator. Click, clack, click, clack. Sound the machine. Day 6. Let's say it's day 6. You can't rest just yet.
Not the plate last night.
What is this?
Size plate compared. Majority of the stars are fixed. Well, I mean, they're much farther away from the solar system. So relative. But point is, if a nearby planet, well, when I say nearby, if a planet moves, I'll be able to see it. If it's there, I'll be able to see it. Or it could be an asteroid. That'd be exciting to find an asteroid.
Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. They wait patiently. Now what? This is boring.
Now, how I'm going through every inch, every tenth of an inch of play to see if any of those dots.
Found it yet?
Sorry, what?
You found it yet?
Oh, no. It's from. This is just. I mean, if I found it first go.
You'd be famous.
Yeah. That's nearly impossible. It's literally impossible. Counting my lucky stars just to be here. All 15 million of them. 15 million stars in the night sky, as bright as planets, planet X would be. Actually, find planet X. Find a brand new planet
You'd be
in
famous.
my lifetime. I'd sooner win the lottery. Besides,
Click, clap, click, clap.
What do you think they'll call it? You can't just be clear.
Click, clap, click, clap.
Got any suggestions?
um,
You think they name it after you?
no.
Planet Tombaugh. It's got a nice ring to it.
The person, maybe I wouldn't even be here if
But you'd be the guy who actually found it.
Silence besides the click, clap, click, clap. Clyde lifts up his head to see Percival the Martian walk by. Time moves slowly. They do a delicate dance of searching and hoping and imagining. Pluto plays piano in a distant place. Everything suddenly stops. Pluto reads the New York Times. He looks up from the paper to Karen. He passes her the paper. It contains Clyde Tombaugh's obituary. January 20th, 1997. We'll come back to it.
Day one. They'll come back to me.
Karen exits. Pluto exits, along with the rest of the celestial ensemble. Lights go on and off as we hear click, clap, click, clap, click, clap. But gradually we realize that's the sound coming from Percival the Martian. Every time the lights go on and off, Clyde is in a different spot, as if a series of tableaus rewinding in time. First, behind the comparator, and by the end of the process, he's outside with the family farmhouse. There's a change in the universe. We're back in 1929, the day Clyde left home. Miron, Clyde's dad, pokes his head from the farm part of set and says,
But make yourself useful. Beware of easy winter.
we don't hear his words because their exchange is drowned out by the clicking and clacking and the white noise, but if space allows the line projected. Clyde is now in a car as he travels. Projection of America passing by. An echo of the tune.
Kansas, Arizona.
day one. 847 miles to go.
He turns his watch back an hour. The Martian becomes more visible. They come closer. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack.
January 14th, leaving the farm. That says make yourself useful. Leaving Burnett, leaving all its 26 square miles of land. All its 256 people living in it. Adjusting the rearview mirror. Catching one last look at the United Methodist Church. The rearview mirror. Pastors standing outside his in front of the parsonage, cleaning out his pipe on the other side of the road. I had to wave at him by song. Passing the gas station and the post office on the highway 156.
We take them quite seriously, our daily patrol, to make sure everything is in its proper place. Peaks and valleys, highest highs, lowest lows. It's only a small place we've got. Fourth rock from the sun. 55.7 million square miles of surface area. Nearly a fraction of what got on Earth. A small rock all red, red. Sometimes we look over and marvel at your blue, your swashed swirl of blue, and we get lost in that blue. We get jealous. We send you messages. Every once in a while, we catapult a little something over. Love letters, 235 and counting, just to say hi, just to slingshot a kiss through your gravitational pull. Even though we're not entirely compatible, suppose we can't all compete with Venus. Still, we've got lots to offer. There's lots to see. Always the highest highs, the lowest lows of our neighborhood. Planum Australis. That's where we'll start, usually. Height of winter. Make our way to the top of the ice cap. 3 kilometers of frozen water, carbon dioxide, permanent, pristine. 3 kilometers plus 1 meter, give or take. It's the height of winter. We look up. We lift our left hand. We wait 13 minutes until sunlight cascades down and our fingertips look translucent. We watch the katabatic wind sweeping and crashing down across the craters, radiating out like a spider web, and we scale down the walls and canyons. Promethei, Ultimum, Chasma Australis, Sulkai. It's the best view from the south wall of Promethei, but it is also the most difficult. Steep, jagged layers scale down the south wall of McMurdo to examine its layers of its wrinkles of time.
Hanston, Jetmore, right, Dodge City, onto Highway 56, zipping across Kansas, Ensign, Montezuma, Oakland, Sublet, Satana, Moscow, Hugoton, Rolla, Wilburton, Elkhart. The signpost says, "Welcome to Oklahoma, Native America, Sturgis, Boise City." Stop for a coffee and I swallow half of ham sandwich mom packed for me. Carry on. Cross west.
Fast, red browns, red greens, red grays, red black skins at the edge of the canyon.
Swing
Continue
on the
on.
edge of Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico. Clayton, New Mexico.
High elevation. It excites me. On the southern hemisphere, you get lots of Terra Samaria, for example. Cloud and mist, where I can trace the imprint of water used to flow through every surface of every slope, all the sublime, bright, and dark.
The light hits the slopes in a distance. There's a glint in the middle of all the cloud and mist. Elevation rises as temperature drops. It's cold this time of the year. It's always a bit cold in this part of the country. Past Auto Cemetery, Pasamonte Hunts, Gladstone, Point of Rocks, Abbott, Springer, another sharp turn on south onto Highway 85.
Halfway there. It's always just halfway there until it's yet another.
Let's see Salt Lake in the west, in a distance. Monaco gas station and Wagon Mount. For another town in a distance. For another.
Martian sits down on a high platform, takes out a spyglass, and looks across the entire world.
Once a young boy looked out of his window. He looked out of his window and into the night sky, saw
Nothing up ahead. It's just nothing. Nothing at all. A lot of the times, it's just that. A whole lot of nothing. Except you know it's there. It's got to be there. No, you'll see it eventually. It's got to be there. Waiting.
he couldn't see me back then. He pictured me green, blue, with scales or feathers, with one eye, large, shining, the blackest black, or entirely translucent. My limbs stretch, sway in the atmosphere like smoke. I could be anything you like.
Arriba, Las Vegas, Tecolote, Serafina, San Jose, Sands, Ilfel, Ro, Cerro de Escobas, mountains, the mountains, and Santa Fe. Bugadez, Santa Ana Pueblo, El Lanito, Nasazi, Bernalillo, Sandia Pueblo, Albuquerque, huge Albuquerque. It's hard to see where it ends where the next town begins. I'm so close. Close. Route 66. Mother road covered in dust and metals. Follow the mother road straight on to.
I pictured you much bigger, much smaller, more fragile, more wrinkles around the eyes, and I pictured your wings, your claws, your long snouts, perfect, smooth skins, well suited for your watery world. You were iridescent under the white light of your tiny, solitary moon.
Mountains. Mesita, white mountain tops in the distance. Laguna, gray mountains. Milan, Pruitt, Thoreau, continental divide. Arizona's just a few towns over. Coolidge, Wingate, Churchill, Rehoboth, Gallup, Wentmore. Defiance. Defiance.
Martian stands up on stilts again and starts to orbit around the stage on the outermost track.
Once a young boy dreamt of the night sky.
The Martian and Clyde both orbit around the stage. Martian reads the night sky, and Clyde reads the street sign. Silence except the wishing of the wind.
One day, he stopped in the middle of his track and looked up.
I got out of my car and I stood on the side of the road. I could hear my heart pounding and I was breathing pretty hard because of the high elevation. It was just all very exciting, so I looked up and the sun hasn't even set yet, but I looked up. There they were.
Stars. So many of them.
So very many of them. So close.
They're so much closer than he could have ever imagined. He remembered all those years ago, first time he held up a mirror towards the night sky. The first time he looked.
I was just looking. Just
Day one.
I looked up.
Stage turns and we're back in Venetia's kitchen.
What?
Oh.
What?
Planet. Discovery by the Wall Observatory. Listen, Professor Harlan Shipley, director of the Howard Observatory, announced today that the Wall Observatory at Flagstaff, Arizona, had discovered a 9th major planet. They haven't named it. Probably larger than the Earth, but smaller than Uranus. They call it the most important discovery since Neptune in 1846. That's almost 80 years ago. And now we got 9. Here it says 9 instead of mere 8. Points. Listen, here, a low-level assistant at the observatory, Clyde W. Tombaugh, found it on a photographic plate on the 18th of February. Was just 24 years old, from a farm, Texas. Says to this reporter, you know, I'm not a real astronomer. Guess you will call me one at all. I guess my kid sister sized me up right at the high school prophecy at Burnett, Kansas, where she had me discovering it. But they found it. It's been almost decades. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Gonna find it? I'm trying to name it now. Do you remember the rest of the names? So, go on then.
Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus.
One more. The last one.
The last one.
Starts with
Neptune. It's Neptune. God of the ocean, right?
Neptune. Go.
My very excellent mother just served us nougat.
What?
It's how I remember it. MVEMJSUN. My very excellent mother just served us nougat. Or noodles. I prefer nougat.
I wonder what name they're going to give.
How about Pluto? Miss Claxton told us about the god of the underworld, Pluto. He's all dark and gloomy and very, very far away. He makes himself invisible and lives where sunlight cannot reach. But he's not to be trifled with, not one bit. Like the new planet, 4 billion miles away. That must be farther than the underworld itself. Must be really lonely all the way out there at the edge of the galaxy, I mean. No wonder she's all dark and gloomy.
Granddad puts down the newspaper and goes to make a phone call.
You mustn't get any smarter, Venetia. Your granddad's getting old. Hi. This is Falconer Madden. Give me Turner, will you? Thank you very much. Pretty soon I won't be able to really catch up with you, right?
Whenever we get a bit bored of surveying the terrains of our home, we try to make social calls to the other residents of our neighborhood. We don't enjoy all of them quite the same. Visits to Mercury always get a bit awkward. They get a bit hot and cold. Well, when we say a bit, their mood swings. Everybody knows about their mood swings. They're legendary for their mood swings. We don't touch Earth, not ever. It's been complicated. We don't want to get into it. But your mood, that's fair game. Martian visits Earth's moon. Just stays until noon. Do you like my version? You've come up with so many of those. My favorite is this. Muggles buggles enable muggle jugglers so uggles nuggle duggle. Excellent. Just chef's kiss. Excellent. Really are the genius of this neighborhood. Always so curious, so ready to take off to the next voyage and the next. Never any fear, any hesitance. We digress. Venus. HFFA. Hot from far away. That one. Sorry. A hot mess. That's what Venus is, literally. It's all about the name, wasn't it? Vulcan would have been a more fitting name. Guarded, impossible to get along with. Burns everything and everyone that tries to approach to a crisp. Would you really find them so beautiful if their name had been something else? Anything but Venus? What does Mars make you think of? Or iron and blood? Or it's difficult to live up to that reputation, you know? On Thursdays, we hop over to Jupiter. A weekly tribute to the king. The radiant, giant, fast-spinning, gassy. We don't mention it, of course. Not in front of them. We tip our hat and say, pleasant weather around these parts, my lord. And we move on. And we skip to, because Granddad Saturn and Great Granddad Uranus are better admired from a distance. So, to Neptune. Neptune was as cold Cold, cold, everything. Neptune holding his Triton, which is spewing out nitrogen ice and dust from just beneath its surface. And the rest of his 14 moons dance the dance of distant discoveries. Neptune like a blue jewel, spinning fast amidst the cobweb of golden rings. We take a breath. You watch our breath turn into a purple mist to turn back. But just then, there's something else. Something new.
Pluto starts to play a different tune on the piano, a small tune. It's something distant, but it's something new.
You. What's your name then?
In the background, Granddad and H.H. Turner finishes their phone call. Turner makes a telegraph. Projection. 5 AUD 21 RCA, Oxford, March 16. WLT. Lowell Observatory, Flagstaff, Arizona. Naming new planet, please consider Pluto, suggested by small girl DeVeta Brandani for dark, gloomy planet. 5:45 p.m. Turner.
This is Turner to Low. Yes. I can wait. Yes. Naming new planet, please consider Pluto. Stop. Suggested by small girl. Stop. Venetia Bernie, comma, for dark, gloomy planet. Stop.
We're back on the day of the discovery, February 18, 1930. Clyde is sitting on the boot of his car for a bit, exasperated. Pluto the cat struts by and sits by him.
Pluto, Sanders, Chambers, Sun Valley, Holbrook, Joseph City, Winslow, Winona, Flagstaff. That's 9. I counted 9 of them. Towns that I passed in Arizona and Seacat. Now there are 9 planets in the solar system. They wouldn't move. Clouds. Such a night you'd think heaven and earth would move at your will. Don't budge. Clouds. Gary Cooper says, "Want to call me that?" Smile. A guy had just cussed him. He's called the Virginian. Gary Cooper's character, not the guy who cussed him. That's Walter Houston, the actor. Character is called Krampus. Virginian. I was hoping the sky would have cleared by now. You want to call me that? Smile. Gary Cooper. He's so cool. So, Gary Cooper is this ranch foreman. He goes to the saloon, right? And he was hitting on this barber. Krampus, Walter Houston. Krampus. Well, who's talking to you? Gary Cooper. I'm talking to you, Krampus. I want to know anything from you. I'll tell you, you long-legged son of a... And Gary Cooper pulls out his pistol, sticks it right up against his belly. You want to call me that? Smile. And Krampus says, gun against my belly, I always smile. Clouds. Then this girl, Molly. She's a school teacher from work. Nice girl. Gary Cooper falls for her. She's not into him at first. They end up. So what? How? There was a shootout. Yeah, there was a shootout. I mean, there's got to be a shootout. Gary Cooper got shot in the back first. He doesn't die. Gets better, and Molly nurses him back to health, and they fall in love. Then there's a shootout. With Walter Houston and the gang, and Gary Cooper draws out his 6-shooter so fast you can't even tell his hand is moving. And then him and Molly finally get married. After I better call it a night. Even if it does clear up, better call it a night. Hey, hey, come back.
The cat doesn't come back. Clyde continues to sit on the boot of his car.
Newton, Sanders, Chambers, Sun Valley, Holbrook, Joseph City, Winslow, Winona, Flagstaff.
Time passes a bit. It's now days later. Esther appears somewhere on stage, reading a letter from Clyde. Rejection. March 9th, 1930.
Last week has been one hurry and bustle.
The planets appear on the stage. Rejection. March 13th, 1930.
On this day, we celebrate the would-be 75th birthday of Dr. Percival Lowell, the man who predicted what is now proven possible.
On this day, we celebrate the 149th anniversary of William Herschel's discovery of Uranus, the planet whose name will make children laugh for generations to come.
On this day, we welcome the latest addition to the planetary family of the solar system. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Hey, neighbor, welcome.
Welcome, planet. So what are they calling you?
X, planet X. We meet at last.
A flurry of phones ring. A camera shutter sound. Aaron and Adela appear somewhere else on the stage, reading from a letter he's sending to Clyde. Projection, March 15th.
Well. Just 14 months
How does
ago,
it feel to be a hero in the
last
public eye?
Friday, you left for Flagstaff.
Sure
And
took
about
us by
9
surprise.
o'clock, you
Love
said,
about you. It took us-
Friday morning, we heard the grand good news.
Friday morning, we were sitting around the house after breakfast when the phone
We're
rang.
all so happy,
Jill or Taylor called.
glad, but
You
really
know your
cannot
son is
realize it all
7.
yet. And I wonder if you
No,
can.
says I, but I knew he was hot on the
I
trail.
cannot be satisfied till we get a letter from you.
Projection, March 15th.
Planted potatoes Saturday a.m. and all went to Larned p.m. for a celebration in your honor. Bought all the papers we could find having articles about you, including KC Star, Times, Wichita, Beacon, and Eagle. Also ordered Sunday editions of the Star and Journal Post.
The flurry of sounds halts to a silence. Everything in the background freezes. The Martian speaks to Clyde.
Day one,
Day one.
officially. Was that day one?
The Martian starts to walk again. Click,
Hey.
clap, click, clap.
Hey, come back.
No one.
Lights down on everything else and up on Pluto and Karen. Pluto playing the piano.
Turner, Oxford. Name a new planet. Please consider Pluto. Suggested by small girl. Veterinary. They butchered her name now good, didn't they? For dark blue. Are we now? Dark and blue.
It's in the name.
5 pounds. Granddad Falconer gave her 5 pounds. In 1930. 758 today.
Generous.
Lucrative. Lots of people campaigned for it. For Juno. Then maybe I'd be Leonard, I would have liked. Well, too much drama with Jupiter right around the corner. Erebus was in the running too, for a bit, but we wanted to stick to the Roman trend, didn't we? Which would make you SCOTUS. Nobody would have agreed to that, unless they wanted to be really funny and call me POTUS. Well, you'd be POTUS and I'd be SCOTUS. We can do that over a drink on his birthday and call it a night.
Clyde enters the scene, dancing a little, dropping off farm equipment.
Tomboy, tomboy, let it be my name.
Hey.
Surely Mr. Tomboy beats in the game.
Making fun of me.
Baby, it's only been day one. Buckle up. Playing hide and seek. I have often thought I should like to be discovered by oneself. Let the joyous tidings bring the world around. Tomboy, tomboy, latest planet found.
Time rewinds. A barn in Burdett, Kansas. A teenage Clyde builds a telescope out of barn machinery. He's grinding a concave mirror on a post. The Martian approaches and watches.
Here's the thing. It's hopeless. Shoot. What do
What have you got there?
I don't know. What do okay, I got it. It's gotta be a perfect image.
Can I show you something? Broadhurst, Clarkson and Company, the telescope experts, advanced Starboy and premier models. Look, to all interested in astronomy, Fleet Street, London.
London.
Is that nearby?
Oh, that's
Here, I found another one. Splendor of the Heavens. Doesn't that sound good? Telescopes for space enthusiasts and amateurs.
amateurs.
There's astronomers. They've got all sorts there.
Well, this is the. I wanted. I can make something better. The ones you can get from Sears or Roebuck, I mean, they look better, but shiny, sleek, comes with a tripod, real attractive. Real waste of money. Because they've got shot in mirrors. My first telescope was from Sears. The mirror is no good, then it's all for nothing. The mirror is no good, then the read won't be accurate, then I might just pretend, draw the whole thing from imagination. I want to see the real thing. I want to see what's really there on Mars, Jupiter. And I know I can do it. Would you believe in me?
Your coffee's getting cold.
Your coffee's getting cold. Did you really mean what you said? I heard you talking.
Yes.
You and Jim?
What did I say?
But you can't possibly. You didn't believe in the Big Bang Theory?
Oh.
Oh, that. I thought maybe you were making fun. Or maybe I got something funny in my ears, but you were serious?
Let's see. Was.
But you're a scientist. You both are scientists.
Your big brother didn't agree with me on this either, but Big Bang Theory. This one time, my classmate, high school classmate, and Kansas, my family. My family was pretty religious, and anyway, we got into this debate about evolution. My classmate and we were sitting on this rock patio that I had, and the rocks were just filled with marine fossils, real simple ones, but pretty visible, evident. So I said to him, can't you see this whole place was under the sea at one point? Just look at these fossils. And he goes, oh, God put them there, test our faith. Really? I couldn't believe it. So you're saying God is a deceiver. It's like Satan. There's so much we don't know. So much we can't see. We believe in scientists, believe in the Big Bang Theory, religiously. Why should the universe start from a point? Essentially, why?
Maybe fresh power. What?
I'm sure.
You really are a strange man, aren't you? So, is there something you do believe in?
Really believe in this. I'm impressed.
I want better things. I don't really want to go to college. I want to go to college. I want to get out of there.
Is that a Coke can there?
Yeah, it's
You're building a telescope with a Coke can.
it's just for the guys.
It's gonna be one ugly telescope.
As long as the image of the universe is small.
What are you using for the base there?
This should be a creep separator. Dad retired a while ago, so I asked if I could salvage it. It's a weird story. Like, I think I want a flywheel out there, like counterweight. Hey, don't go anywhere.
Not going
I'm not
anywhere.
going anywhere.
A shift in the universe. She speaks as if to an interviewer while making a sandwich.
He was a bit shy at first. I remember. Well, I was excited when my brother brought him home. Except I made a horrible first impression, I thought. I had my work clothes on, you see. An apron, the whole. I was sweeping upstairs when they got home, so there's no time to. I probably had dirt on my nose. And Clyde. Oh, Clyde was quite the right rock star around K-State. You know, the young man who discovered Planet X before he even got to college. Things like that don't happen every day. It's once in a lifetime, several lifetimes. First American, too. The first American who discovered a new planet. Lots of girls wanted to marry him. He's got all those letters from all those women around the country, and he didn't like the attention. He was really plenty of hairstyle, hopefully.
A shift in the universe. Clyde returns.
Would you like a sandwich?
Summer 1933.
Would you like a sandwich? It's good to see you again. I thought you were going back to Flagstaff. Jim said. Jim's not home.
Oh.
I could make you something else.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm, all right. I was thinking,
Yes.
I was maybe two people. Show?
Yes.
Oh,
They linger there for a moment. Then a shift in the universe. Takes another step closer to her. She takes his hand. Pluto plays piano in the distance. They dance to the music slowly. A lighting shifts. Time freezes. Patsy turns around to the audience.
I was a little flattered when he seemed to take an interest in me, and we went to see Today We Live. Clyde was so excited about Gary Cooper. He thought he was so cool. Couldn't shut up about the Virginia. There was also one Sunday afternoon. What else? Oh, Orange. I think that was my favorite that summer. Katharine Hepburn and Douglas Fairbanks. I am not afraid to be a morning glory. I am not afraid. Oh, his eyes. His eyes behind those glasses, those black, round rimmed glasses. He's got stars in there. When I looked at him, I could see it too. Planets, stars in his eyes. Whole damn universe.
A lighting shift. Time unfreezes. They step out of the moment. Spring 1933. They are young and in love. Plus, they are finally classmates in philosophy class.
is that,
The uncertainty demonstrated by the differences of opinions among philosophers and people in general. Progress ad infinitum.
all truth rests on matters themselves and so on.
Example,
Example. Example. Oh, the regress on relation.
all things are changed as their relations become changed, or as we look upon them from different perspectives.
Assumption.
The truth, no, it's your turn. Assumption.
Truth asserted is based on unsupported assumption.
And finally, circularity. The truth involves circularity. Agrippa would have been proud,
Agrippa has got to be.
because usually we're just trudging along. What's playing today? We deserve a break, don't you think? Of human bondage. Betty Davis. We like Betty Davis. Ooh, death takes a holiday. After years of questioning why people fear him, death takes on human form, and he falls in love with a young woman. What do you think?
Well, after summer, I go back in the summer. And
An excited but nevertheless awkward pause.
Steve, just ask me to marry you.
Another moment in which nothing was denied and nothing more needed to be said. The Martian approaches, stops between the couple, and drops fluttering of flower petals over them, and conducts the band mash up Wagner's Wedding March and the Tomboy Song from Earth.
So was that was day one, wasn't it?
It felt like day one. That's it. I felt like I can go whenever I wanted. Whenever hailstorm felt like I felt. Yeah. Day one.
Interlude. Projection takes over the entire space. Seen from Death Takes a Holiday. Clyde, Patsy, and Venetia watches the movie from their respective space worlds. In a very nonchalant way, Pluto and Clyde dubs for death. Patsy dubs for Gracia.
You conceive how lonely I am.
Perhaps you could tell me.
I think I can, almost.
Tell me.
I think you've been holding life in your hands, as I do sometimes. I think you've been a little afraid of its beauty.
Oh, you do know.
You seem to come from a distant place. When I'm with you, I see depths in your eyes that are like worlds I visit in sleep. And beneath your words is a sound I've heard in dreams. When you leave me, the light goes from the sky. You're like the mystery that's just beyond sight and sound, always just beyond my reach. Something that draws. And
I am
How should I pursue it?
sort of vagabond of space.
The point of contact between eternity.
Think, if you can, of infinity.
That may
Think of limitless reaches of light and limitless reaches of darkness.
I shall know what you know, feel what you feel. My hunger shall be appeased for an hour.
My hunger that is as old as time. And those I love can feel they are not afraid. Not afraid, not afraid, not afraid.
Blackout. End of interlude. Intermission. The stage tracks are dark, except the Martian is dramatically lit from the side. He moves mechanically with a peculiar sort of grace. He moves. Click, clap, click, clap. Projection. A collage of hate mail from children to Neil deGrasse Tyson. A recording of the Nova podcast in which David Levin interviews Alan Stern in defense of Pluto.
All right, we're going to take a 10-minute intermission, and then we'll come back and do a talk back with the playwright. Thank you so much. We'll see you in 10 minutes. All right, we should be back. Hey everybody, I don't know if you can see me or not. Actors, why don't you grab, I think since we have a small audience, why doesn't everybody just come on up to the stage? Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Cats included.
All right. And our, yeah, oh, look at that. Who's in the audience there? Let's see. I see Megan. I can't tell who the person wearing the hat is. Who is that? Do I know you?
Hi,
My name's Emily.
this is my friend
Hi.
Emily. She was in a show with me that I just did. She's a theater friend.
So, Paul, you get so many bonus points for bringing one person. Look at that, everybody. Just think if all of you could have brought, I don't know, one person.
I brought Megan.
They all brought Megan. Every single one.
No. You know who brought Megan? I brought Megan. That's it. I'm taking credit. Good. All right. So, hey, everyone. I believe you can all see Ran Xia now. Just want to do a quick introduction with Ran. I'll try not to embarrass you too much. Ran Xia is an interdisciplinary theater artist from Shanghai, China. She's the 21-22 Beatrice Terry resident of the Drama League, a resident director at the Tank, where she received the inaugural Artist of the Year award. She's also worked quite a bit with La Mama, Dixon Place, Exquisite Corp Company. She's a commissioned playwright at the Vanderbilt University, and she also just directed a production of Orlando at Barnard College, Orlando by Sarah Rule. And when I say that she is an interdisciplinary artist, I mean, she works as a director, a playwright, designer, and also in her free time, she's also the artistic director of the Arctic Group Theater Company. This is the playwright. So yeah, let's give her a hand. Yay. I want to thank all of the actors and our two audience members for coming out tonight. Thank you for that. A special thanks to Vikram and Rachel and Lucy for all jumping in very last minute with replacements. Oh my gosh. And Andrew, I guess you're somewhere in the house running tech. Thank you, Andrew, for taking that on. Great. So we're just going to jump in with some feedback. Andrew, I have no idea, since Jackie's not running the live stream, whether or not you can see if any questions come from people watching the live stream or comments. But if there are, I guess, I don't know, shout them out or something, or send them in the chat. I have no idea how that works. All right. So first, I would, what images, what ideas, what things popped out to you in a helpful, positive way from the play?
I really liked the different personalities of planets, and someone has like a passing.
Sorry, Megan, can you speak up a little bit? The mic feels a little bit off.
I
Thank you.
liked all the personalities of the planets, and as someone who has like a passing interest in astrology via like horoscopes kind of thing, understanding like what the planets like do and how they affect your chart. Like I don't know, I saw some of that kind of stuff come through. So for me, I thought that was fun. I don't know what was going on with by talking about the movie, but he was talking to the cat, but I really liked when Patsy brought it up later, like he wouldn't shut up about yeah, I don't know. That worked for me just because I didn't know what was going on. So when she was like, he wouldn't shut up about it, I was like, yeah, What else? I have more thoughts, but I'll let somebody else talk.
Oh, it was hard for me because we couldn't see the projections. And so that would have been really helpful for me visually because I'm a visual learner and a visual receiver. But I thought how the things were laid out would make more sense in a visual way. Just because I have a hard time, not that I don't have an imagination, that's not what I'm saying. I just really appreciate how a director envisions things and then makes it a reality for me. And so I was sitting there thinking the whole time about how a director would make that work and how that would translate into an actual production. And so from a technical perspective, I think it would look really, really cool. I would just love to see what that is. And I was a little confused by the Martian sometimes and whether he was actually talking to people or if he wasn't. And so that could have been my misunderstanding, but sometimes the Martian popped up and I was like, wait a second, is he the Martian?
Good.
Or something else?
Good. These are all good comments. Right now, let's try to really focus in on positive things that popped out and things that will really stick with you. We'll get to questions about curiosities and any elements that were confusing. Good. Cass, don't be shy. And I also see we're all looking up.
I just love Pluto so much. Like, I love him so much. Like, there's like this monologue that you had in that act 2 on that second page, and the second I read that, I was just like, I lost it. I was just like, tears are streaming down my face. It's just like perfect. So I'm pretty sad that I didn't get after that at all.
I regret not having you read it, actually.
Yeah, I wanted, when I read that, I was like, God, I can't wait to read it. And I read through it over and over and over. I just couldn't get enough of it. It flows. It's just like, I don't know. It's like so smooth. It's just like water. I don't know. But
Isaac, do we have time for him to read it?
Yeah, we can have him read it. You have the original script? Go for it, buddy. Nice and loud so we can all hear you.
Let me find it. Hang on. I got it in an email. Have it?
Regina has it.
Kristen, I have a quick question. Ran and I were talking during the reading. Did you bring a costume change?
Yes, I did.
Amazing.
How do you want me to do this? Should I just?
I don't know. Yeah, just go for it, man.
I'll just sit right here. I'm just a guy playing the piano. There's so much time between us. But I was there. You knew I was. You can tell. Pluck out the notes. Pluck out the tune. There's always sort of a tune if you listen carefully. It's a tune of wandering of visible dots in the vast. I've been here a long time before that, before myths, before poetry, before breath became a life. Of ice, methane, ice, nitrogen, ice, carbon monoxide, ice, soft ice, sand, ice, volcano, ice, canyons, ice, ocean, methane, nitrogen, carbon monoxide, pulling closer what's floating around, evolving, revolving, transforming, regenerating in the vast. I've been dying for a long time, like you, like all the other unyielding stars. It's a constant process of being reborn. I have been for a long time before that. Before methane, nitrogen, carbon monoxide. Before you saw me, I was just a speck of light in the distance. Pale blue speck of light, moved ever so slightly on a sheet of dust on a window pane. It caught your eye, what you saw amongst all the other unyielding stars. That was you too. Pale blue dot. Thought you were so close. Amongst all the rest of the unyielding stars, we recognized each other. You were looking. You were looking. So ice started to have meanings. Methane, nitrogen, carbon monoxide, they started to have meanings. Ancient, sinister, the antithesis of life, the celestial boneyard, or maybe just barren, lonely, or what do you know? What do I know? Just a guy in the corner playing the piano.
Ah,
So lit. It's so lit.
awesome. Good. Other things that popped out to you? Positive things?
I like seeing Clyde at different ages.
Sorry, speak up a little bit.
Yeah, I like seeing Clyde at different ages. Like when he's building telescope, and then obviously current, or I don't know what's meant to be present day Clay, but yeah, I liked the different ages, and then I liked the dynamic with Cassie. I thought that was really cute. And there was something else I was gonna say.
I like all the shifts that happened of like different combinations of people interacting in different ways, or characters rather, or personae. That it told this story in this way that was like this little chunk and this little chunk, and they all have their like beats and rhythms. And so it kind of propels it, and it's like intriguing, and it's kind of like nebulous in a way, which seems fitting for the subject matter.
Oh, I remember. I liked the day one thing, like what you thought would be like hot momentous day, and is like wasn't, and it turned out to be a relationship. That was what I got.
Yeah, I really was struck by that that theme as well, especially with the eventuality of Pluto being called not a planet, but the idea of this, the way that things seem to happen all at once, and then also don't always end up being what we want them to be, what we think they're going to be. Yeah, good. Other thoughts?
Yeah, we have someone online, Joshua, thank you for this thought. Struck by the theme of orbit and circling, and the way that is reflected in the circular use of language, orbiting the point or talking about it.
Smart comment, Josh. I know Josh. Josh is someone else that I brought. Josh is very smart.
Just trying to get in good graces with the director.
Good. Any other thoughts people want to share? It's all right if you don't have any. But
The Death Takes a Holiday was really super fun too. That'd be just really fun to overdub that as the actor, and that just, I don't know, that was really fun.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. The next thing, this will be interesting, and I think Emily already laid out a bunch of things for us on this. Was there anything that was confusing? Just funny with a play like this, especially where we only get the first half. But was there anything that you were just like, wow, I really don't get this at all?
Yes, the interaction between the Martian and Clyde, like when he was driving across from Kansas to Arizona, I wasn't sure whether I'm supposed to listen, like interact with him, or be in my own space.
I forgot that I actually wanted to note that as something that stuck with me because I really like that they were in their own spaces, especially the part where the Martian is like with the wind and he's like saying the stuff that's wishing by him, and then he's reading the signs of the cities or towns as he's driving. So like them being in different places, doing the same kind of thing in their respective places next to each other. I thought that was cool. That was from the last question. I just forgot it until you mentioned. Sorry.
Good, look at that. Ashwini Kasusha was right there with the counter punch. Bam. Good.
It took me a while to just get oriented to the world. At the top, it felt confusing. I don't know if I saw it again, having like been through the whole thing. I don't know if I would have. Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but initially it just took a minute to settle in and figure out what was going on.
Music's just such a big part of this story, so it's hard without any of the sounds and without much of the sound and much of the music, because if you just had the clack 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 going on in the background the whole time, it would just kind of underscore the whole thing. And you know, I don't know, it just maybe chopped it up actually having to like with words describe the music. So like with all that just kind of going on in the background, it would kind of glue it all together. So I think just at the point where there's none of the music written, it can maybe kind of awkward, I guess.
There were a couple of times also where people were talking at the same time, and it was really hard for me to understand what both of them were saying, and I feel like it was important. And so that was a hard thing for me, because I wanted to hear what they were saying, but I couldn't separate because they were talking over each other.
This is actually more of a positive. I liked when there were moments when the action on stage would freeze. We didn't necessarily see it, but the way that it was described in the narration, and kind of how it would get, or is described as kind of being overwhelming and loud and having all these different things happening on stage, and then it kind of just being dialed in and focused into one area. I liked the idea of that. We didn't get to see all of that, but it was. I kind of liked when they overlapped, but I definitely, I agree, I wasn't tracking what either person was saying. Unless I just dialed in on one and forgot about the other person.
Well, and maybe it would work if there was that one point where it said things are happening in the background and this is what's happening in the foreground. So if they aren't talking over each other, but there's like a track behind it or something, because then it's easier to focus in on the important thing that's being said. But again, those are little things that in my brain, I think would look really, really cool and sound really cool. And so if all of those elements together, again, like Paul said, it would just be the glue that brings everything together. And so in a really bare performance, you let your imagination go and think, oh, it would look so cool if we did this, or it would look so cool if this, and that a good piece of writing allows you to do that.
Right. Good. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think it would be interesting to see the other planets. Well, the Martian's not a planet, but I think it would be interesting if the planets influence Clyde in different areas of his life. So like if Venus was the one.
Megan, it's not a play about astrology.
I wanted to say no, but I like that Venus is like the central, she's the woman. So if she's the one there when Patsy's got like the thing and with Clyde going on, I don't know, leave me alone, okay?
That's good. That's good.
It's not a horoscope play. All right. Noted. Ran has written it down. Let's what things were you really, really curious about? And by that I mean like what were you like really wanting to know more about? I think we just heard from Megan. She wants to know about the way that the planets, movements, and the stars affects our lives, and the romance between Clyde and Patsy. But what things in the play were you like, oh wow, I really, really want to know more about that, or I'm really curious about what was going on in it with this?
You mean like what we want to see in Act 2?
Yeah, partially, but yeah, but just anything where you're like, oh wow, that's so, even if you're just like, I want to know more about the way telescopes are made, or what's up with the Black Cat Diner.
It is now a sushi place, by the way.
It's a sushi place now?
Yeah.
Oh wow. A perfect place for a black cat.
I just really like the relationship between Betsy and Clyde, and what little I learned about their true lives. Just really touching. I saw the video of her when she's like 97. I don't know. They seem like they had like that fairy tale relationship, which, would be kind of cool to see more. They have kids and stuff. That's just because I like that romantic stuff.
I wanted to know why the black cat and the Martian might have known each other.
I was very curious as to what Venetia's response would have been to learning that they picked her suggestion but butchered her name. Like what an incredible like high and an incredible low for a young teenager to just like, yes, I'll never get credit. I'll spend the rest of my life correcting this.
It was already in there, but I would like to see potentially more of it, but how the Martians' perspective of what thought humans were.
All right, and then Rand, you wanted to know what they think happens next. Is that what you? I'm trying to remember. Sorry.
No, I think that was the question you just asked.
Oh, okay, great.
Worded it better than I did.
Good.
I'm awfully curious about that court case on the legitimacy of Pluto. Ready for that.
Didn't it say it was going to turn into a rock opera?
Yeah, the rock opera. Yeah. Just need the rest of it. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll tie it all together.
I'd love to see the planets be in the courtroom, like playing different, like the judge and like the jury or the defendants and the prosecution. That's all I can name of courtroom characters. Bailiff. Thanks, Mike.
This is just for you, Isaac, but I want to see Mercury in retrograde, please.
Not against it. I'm not against that. Is that if there's one part of astrology that everyone believes in, it's Mercury in retrograde.
I truly do not know anything about astrology.
When Mercury goes in retrograde, that's when nothing works for all of the stupid reasons. I felt like the first hour of our pre-rehearsal tonight was a prime example of Mercury in retrograde. Actually, really right up to the first 3 minutes of the reading when we had to stop and readjust the camera twice.
I thought it was kind of alluded to, because didn't they say that Mercury is sort of hot and cold?
Oh.
Yeah, it's touched on.
That might have been a cool interaction if like Mercury came in the second act and like I introduced you into the neighborhood and was like, oh, this is the only way that you'll get to meet your distant neighbor. Like that could have been a neat thing.
Good. Rand, do you have any other questions you want to ask them?
Not really. You are all so marvelous.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap this up here. So anybody has anything else? They're just like bursting at the seams to share. Cast, stay on for just a couple minutes. Just want to say hi to you. And all right, we can say goodbye to the live stream people.